in so we're going to get started. So this is webinar 1 as a follow-up webinar to the quantum shift. And if things are going pretty much the way they go after that particular day, many of you have probably been very, very present to what either is your feeling habit or what you think is your feeling habit. And we are going to get to that in a moment. But how I'd like to start off with you now is to get you present to the heart. And just consider that the heart is the root of life. The heart governs this higher self, this true self. And that is mostly, that higher self that you are is mostly drowned out by the small self, the concentration on me, the density of me over here. And therefore we can't hear the essence of who we really are. Consider that this true self, this higher self, is an overflowing love, which is purely spontaneous, unmotivated, groundless, and creative. It's the super consciousness, the glow around your heart, if you will. And tonight we want to leave this webinar hearing it, knowing it, and understanding it. I had asked you guys to get present or bring to the forefront, bring your awareness to your feeling habit. And I'm going to share with you my feeling habit and the different ways that it showed up over time. And then I'm going to give you an opportunity to express yours as it is right now. Now, a common question, by the way, that I want to address is, do I have more than one feeling habit? Not really. So let me say more about that. The feeling habit is energy. So this is an energetic language. It is a language of energy where we have to put words to it as we start because we aren't in touch with energy at the level we need to be in order for this to make any difference. So we have to have language with it. So for instance, when I first distinguished my feeling habit, it sounded like this. I feel like I'm going to lose everything. And that really is fundamental to my feeling habit. I feel like I'm going to lose everything. Well, you look at how I run my life. I work constantly. I'm always doing something. I have more projects and more balls in the air than anybody that you might know. And by the way, I'm not minimizing that or making it wrong. It is my life. But it makes sense that it is my life given my feeling habit. That's all. I'm not trying to change that because of my feeling habit. No, it just makes sense. So my feeling habit fundamentally is I feel like I'm going to lose everything. Well, that was in 2016 when I actually first developed the feeling habit as an element of this work and got it for myself. And now as I've gone on, I started to see that same energy. Are you following me? Like it has an energy. And if you're not clear about the energy now, don't worry about it. You will. It will start to make sense and you'll start to feel it. But for me, it turned into, I feel left out. I feel even sometimes like ignored, if you will. And the energy of that has the same feeling in my body as does, I feel like I'm going to lose everything. Now I'm going to fast forward. We're in 2018. And here's what I want you to know has happened out of doing the work with this one element. In this time, or at this particular, I have complete freedom from that feeling habit. Does it mean I don't have a feeling habit? No, I have a feeling habit. But now, because I've gotten in touch with it energetically, letting go of it becomes more natural. Now, listen, there's those moments when I find myself stuck there, but here's the difference today and 2016. If I'm stuck with it today, I could talk to you and I might say, so Maria, my feeling habit is so loud. Like right this minute, I feel left out. I feel ignored. I feel not included. Like I might say that, but I know it's my feeling habit. And I also know within a short period of time, Sue, it might be minutes, Deb, it might be an hour, but probably not. And the people who are going to hear it the most are people like on the team, because I'll express myself and then do whatever I need to do to let go quickly. Follow? Okay, good. So now, those of you who were there on Saturday, now Eric, you were not there on Saturday, but you did this program last year, and it's a little bit different, but not much. And you worked on a feeling habit. You might want to listen to this part. You might not jump in right away, and you're welcome to, by the way, but listen to what other people's feeling habit is. And again, I just want to distinguish the feeling habit is a feeling that you habitually have. It's always there. Sometimes it's louder than others, but mostly things that happen around you kick it up. And it is the expression of the small self. Not to make it complicated, I mean, really. So everybody, you have your own mute button. All you got to do is move your mouse or touch your screen and you'll see. And you can unmute yourself, share with us whatever has shown up for you since Saturday regarding your feeling habit. So you might start off first by saying, my feeling habit is, I feel like, blah, 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 blah. Okay? Who's going to start us off? Yes, go ahead, Cliff.
Yeah. So what I distinguished on Saturday is that my feeling I feel like I can't trust you. Yes. And I don't. So I've looked at this week going out and just not really trying to look for it, just being aware of it when it comes up. And I found that it's such a natural part of me that, well, a couple of times, just to distinguish it, a couple of times I thought, how would I act if I did trust a stranger? And I would just smile and start talking. And I wouldn't be worried about what they're going to think or say. So I did that 3 or 4 times this week where the opportunity arose.
Yeah.
And when the energy started to arise, this feeling, I just acknowledge it. And I really get what you're saying. There is a sense of freedom. Like, okay, it's there, but it doesn't have to run my life.
Yeah, it doesn't run you, of course. Now, let me ask you this. Did you or have you yet gotten present to what it feels like an energy?
Yeah, it's very intense. In fact, Barbara and I were talking about it on Sunday, and I was describing how what this energy is like. And she said, you know, you really do come across with this kind of wall up that says, you know, I'm not going to get close to you. You can't get close to me.
Yeah.
And she said she had never really noticed it before, but now as she looked at it, she could see that's the way I am all the time.
Sure.
And so I really, I have gotten in touch with what that energy, it's a hardness. It's kind of like cold steel.
Very good. If you were just to look at it from light energy to heavy energy, can you kind of feel it as a heavier energy?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, compared to trusting a stranger, which when I was tried a couple times, like just to trust somebody I'd never met, just feel comfortable. Yeah, it was very light, very airy, and there was absolutely this sense of.
Okay. Very good. I want to give you an access to something that's more quick and easy for you, I hope. Are you okay, ready? Or do you need to say something?
No, go ahead.
So when you spoke to strangers and you let go of not trusting, so you let go of that heavy energy, you with me? You let go of it.
Yeah.
We're not doing any of this to fix the statement, I don't trust you. We're not doing anything to fix that statement. What we're doing is the statement's there and it has an energetic value, and that energy is heavy. And what you're now practicing is letting go of that energy. So let me just say it again, and it's going to come up a lot, okay? But this is, you guys, what I'm saying to you now is probably the most important part of all of our work. And that is, the statement is a placeholder. It's just a placeholder. The statement itself doesn't mean a lot other than it has an energetic value. If I can get myself sensitive to that energy, then no matter how it shows up, like I said to you, you know, mine started off as, I feel like I'm going to lose everything. And that really is fundamental to my feeling habit. But then that same energy will show up in many different ways. Now, being in touch with that energy, once I feel it, and it's quick, you get that? It's quick. I'm automatically letting go. That is the game here. How quick can I let go? Now, Cliff, when you let go of that, then you might find yourself more likely talking to strangers. You might find yourself more likely with no barriers or walls between you and other people. Just don't get confused that is the intention. What is the intention? Yeah, anybody?
Feeling the energy.
Say that again because I couldn't hear you.
Feeling the energy.
That's number one intention. What's number two? Letting go.
Let go.
Letting go. That is our game here. Otherwise, you might find yourself in too many internal conversations about it. And if you're tied up in conversations about it, that is glue for the small self.
Well, I will just add one thing, though.
Yeah.
I don't feel bad about my habit feeling.
Mm-hmm.
In some ways, I don't want to let it go because there are times I don't want to trust people.
Right.
And so what I'm doing right now is just getting, like you're saying, getting sensitive to it and getting sensitive to the energy. But I'm not in any big hurry to get rid of it. I just want to see what it looks like.
Very good. That's perfect, Cliff. That is absolutely right on. And thank you for being the first one up and stepping in. Great. Yeah, go ahead, Sue.
So I got another cut at my feeling habit. So over the weekend, my feeling habit was I feel like it's never enough. And what came up this week is it's more in the vein of I feel like they're going to get me.
Oh, there you go. Now that has an energy to it.
Oh, yeah, no kidding. I feel it.
I feel like they are going to get me. Yes, there's a lot of energy on that. Very good, Sue. So what did you do with it? Anything? Not like you should have. I'm just giving you.
No, it's been great. I mean, I have a supervisor who's on my grievance list.
Yeah.
And there was one particular day when there were three things that happened vis-a-vis him on different matters that all would have had me go home, bitch and moan to death. And first of all, I would have been pissed off all day, upset. Would have gone home, talked about it all night. Who knows, might have carried it on into the next day. You know what I mean? Been talking about quitting the job, need another job, blah, blah, you know, all of that. And it took me, so there were, like I said, three different things, one of which really irritated me, but I don't need to express the details. But the point is, I let go of the energy in 15 minutes, literally. Now, it took something, but when it came up, it was like, I had tunnel vision. I mean, I had such an adrenaline rush in the sense of the compression in my heart. I could feel it even in my arms. It's like literally my circulation cut off, you know, like I was in the fight or flight. Totally that feeling. Tunnel vision. Couldn't see, couldn't hear, you know what I mean? Like just lost it. And so it took me essentially 15 minutes of breathing, you know, letting go, having it come back a little bit, let go. But I literally in 15 minutes, and Deb knows because I came home afterwards and I said, I'm here to tell you that there's nothing to talk about other than you don't have the same girlfriend you've always had for the last how many years, you know?
Well, so here's what there's a couple things I heard in what you said. So number one, everybody, when she expressed her feeling habit, could you feel it? You could feel it. And you said two things. One, I cannot recreate it completely, but I want to say it was passive language. Now, everybody, I will be on you about passive language all the time. And I am open for you to be on me about passive language because I occasionally will catch myself and, you know, there's nobody around to call me on it. And it's a really powerful thing to get called on because it sounded something like, Sue, it sounded something like, it shut me down.
Yep. I yep.
Versus I shut down.
Perfect.
And this isn't like to make me wrong. No, I need to know who has their hands on the levers and the dials, I or it. You follow? So if I can speak it, like when I'm coaching people and they say, well, it just didn't get done. I understand it didn't get done, but that's passive. Can you be responsible and just say, I didn't do it? Not to make you wrong, you get the world of it. So that was one thing I heard. The other thing that I heard that I loved and I want to put into the space, you said it really took something. Listen, you guys, this is a championship game. You hear that? It is a championship game. This isn't one of those things where you're like, oh gosh, I wish I could let that go. But you know what? Being a bitch or being an asshole or being a dick is way more attractive right now. You know, you could own that, but it takes something. It really, really takes something in the beginning. In the beginning. Once it becomes a lifestyle, you will not be able to tolerate anything less than letting go. You will not be able to tolerate. You follow? Mm-hmm. And I promise you that. From my heart to yours, I promise you that. So when I hear the words, it takes something, I hear a couple things. One, it's a championship game. Welcome to a championship game. The second thing that I hear is, what does it take? So I'm going to share with you what it takes. It takes being in service of aliveness. That's what it takes. Now, I'll just speak from my own personal experiences. You know, if you all listen to the podcast that I did with Robin May and the opening of the podcast, I talk about my Denver trip and staying in a bed and breakfast, an Airbnb, right? And I had all kinds of stuff going on about it. And one of the things that was very clear was being in service of aliveness was not the loudest conversation right then. Right? Yeah, how many of you know what I'm talking about? You have your own world like that, right? So to be in service of aliveness so that it's not elusive, I think is the word I want to use. I want to give you something tangible. So what is it to be in service of aliveness? To be in service of aliveness says, I am identifying more with the higher self while developing compassion for the small self. Now, I'm going to say that again but I'm going to say it using my world. In service of aliveness over here where Thomas is identifying more with generosity while having compassion for I feel like I'm going to lose it all. You get it? That takes it out of some elusiveness, some hopeful conversation that one day maybe I can get my hands on it, to actually bringing your hands to the levers and dials of it. That land? That communicate? We'll say it a few more times with different people, okay? Thank you very much, Sue. That was brilliant. Yes, go ahead, Jean. And then I'll come.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi. So my feeling habit is I feel like I have to work hard. And what's been really cool is after Saturday, and I had expressed this to you already, Thomas, is that at the end of Saturday, I felt like, well, I wanted more about time. I felt like, oh, we got a little introduction to this idea of, you know, dealing with time and our feeling habit and stuff like that. But in truth, what really happened is something shifted.
Yes.
Because ever since Saturday night, I just want to say, I'm a bookkeeper. It's one of the things I do. And so this time of year is extremely busy. Last night I was up working till 1 o'clock in the morning with one of my clients, and I've been working all day, blah, blah, blah. Lots of time. And what I notice in my body when I am noticing my feeling habit is that I have, it's almost like it's hard to breathe. Like, oh, there's not enough breath, there's not enough time. And it's a part of anxiety that I never really acknowledged before or noticed where it was in my body. So that's been really great. But ever since Saturday, like I just feel light and airy and not worried about things and just moving along. Like even tonight, I know that I'm going to be up late, and it's like, it's okay. So it's been really awesome. It's been really freeing, that whole feeling of freeing amidst, you know, what in the past I would be complaining about and concerned about and all of that. So
Yes.
It's been a real shift.
Yeah, very good. So thank you for expressing the shift for you. And then what I want to put into space here is, you know, it's hard to articulate what's happening, and we want the right words for it, and we want to express it so that it lands. And I'm going to give you now a little bit of language. Everything you said landed perfectly, by the way. I'm doing this for the course itself.
Sure.
What happened is you found yourself naturally letting go. It wasn't now I have to let go on purpose. It's happening. And
Yeah.
you're seeing the results of naturally letting go. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
When that energy starts to build up, or you feel it in your body as a contraction, you're more automatic to letting go now. And when you let go, you're lighter.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're lighter, you're more focused on what matters to you in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, being up late, doing what you love to do, you don't think a whole lot about that. The only time you think a whole lot about being up late is when you're doing stuff you don't want to do. And here's the deal, you guys. From this point on, we can no longer tolerate doing stuff we don't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a little left turn somebody could take in that. Like the little left turn could be you don't do the things that need to get done because you don't want to do it. You'd be like, well, I don't do things I don't want to do. Well, that is one possible attitude you can have. And it will give you a particular kind of life. But if you're really smart, now that you're getting more in touch with energy, you'll start bringing light, fun, amazing energy to everything there is to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the smart ones will do. Get it? Perfect.
Yeah,
Dave?
thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
Thomas, this is Joe.
Joe, I'll come back to you. We got David up, and then I'll come to you. Okay, brother? Thanks.
Okay, hey Thomas. Yeah, so my feeling habit, I've been thinking about it a lot, and it feels like it's shifting to more to something like I'm all alone. It feels like I'm all alone.
I feel like I'm all alone.
I feel like I'm all
There's
alone.
no, it feels like, you understand?
Got it.
It is raining outside.
Mm-hmm.
That's an it that you can say it is, and it would be accurate. But it doesn't feel like. I feel like. I see. If you can get it that way, you'll start to get energy. Say it again.
Yeah.
I feel like, please.
I feel like I'm all alone.
Feel like I'm all alone. I get that. I get that. I can really feel that too, David. I can really feel the energy of it.
It's been pretty intense, to be honest. It's Saturday, like a
Gotta be
not a
loud.
bad thing, but a very raw emotional state.
I would think so. Listen, some of us here have been practicing in many different angles this particular work, and you're brand new to it. So these are some of the newer conversations. Not to say you're going to be slow about it. I mean, it's going to hit you. But the first time you get your feeling habit, like really get it, it can feel raw. From an energetic standpoint, I can get that.
Mm.
And this week would be that kind of week. Listen, I have mostly been free from my feeling habit. And I have to say, since Saturday, I have been more conscious of the feeling habit popping up in sneaky ways. Sneaky ways, like ways I'd never languaged it before. And a little later, I might share some of that language. At this point, it won't serve anybody, so I'm not going to put it into space. The only thing you want to be left with is the energy was the same and letting go was the same. I just happened to notice, like, wow, that sure came out of left field, but it felt exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
So anything else around what you distinguished?
No, but if I see any evidence in the outer world, it kind of makes it seem like it's really confirming this as a concrete reality, not as a
Yes.
I feel like thing.
Yeah, very, very good. Okay, so let's talk about that. Are you sometimes alone?
I do spend quite a bit of time by myself, yeah.
Very good. So, yeah, it is real. I am alone. But that's completely different than the energy I feel like.
That's the thing. I actually enjoy being alone, but the feeling, like you're talking about, is quite a heavy feeling. So I don't think it's quite circumstantial.
That's right. They're two different things.
Mm-hmm.
I have lost it all. So to say I feel like I'm going to lose it all, I have. I had lots and lots and lots, and I lost everything. Everything. Praying that I didn't end up living in my car, which I didn't. But that has nothing to do with my feeling habit. They're two different worlds. One is, I really did lose everything. The other one is I feel like I'm going to lose everything. Feel like you're all alone. And of course, in this moment, you're not all alone, but you still might feel that because that's your feeling habit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, very important, David, please write that down. I feel like I'm all alone. So that every week, so we got 3 of these webinars, okay? And on the 3rd webinar, it all comes together. I want you to have that on your sheet. The sheet that I gave you would be most ideal. But if you don't have that, then put it on a workbook so that it's in front of you. Will you do that, or is it already done?
I will. I got it on my iPad, but when I get done with this, I'll put it on paper. So.
Yeah, whatever works for you. iPad's
Okay.
fine. Whatever works for you, my friend. Thank you, David. Thanks for sharing. And now let's go over here to Joe.
Thomas. Okay.
Hey, Joe.
How you
Hi,
doing?
Susie.
So, I admittedly, for me, I'm not really clear that I've distinguished my feeling habit.
Well,
But-
that's really too bad because we've done it a lot of times, you and me, Joe.
So,
Don't make me get your notes out.
Well, okay, so here's the thing that I do notice
Yes.
is, so the thing that I get is right now I'm working with my stepson. And this is very different for me because I've been working on my own mostly for like 10, 12 years.
Yeah.
And so it's putting me in a world of more communication. And I find myself not resisting it. I mean, there's resistance that shows up when there's a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
But this last week I've been seeing so much conflict in how it shows up from not enough communication. And it's not necessarily with me, it's people around me communicating with me or with other people. And, it's the letting go is automatic, it seems like.
Yeah.
And this is what's so strange or feels, back asswards for me, is that, it's the letting go seems natural. And yet I don't feel like I've quite established my feeling habit.
Well, I don't know that you have to get dug in about your feeling habit.
Right.
But let's see here. That's Susie.
It's a quandary for me in the back of my head that.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. When we're done tonight, I am going to go through your file and I'm going to pull out the feeling habit that you distinguished with me last year.
Okay.
If that'll give you some peace. Plus, it'll give you something. See, we're going to carry this feeling habit today into another realm.
Yes.
That's why you might want to have it. You're not going to lose anything today. It's going to be all good.
Sure.
But you do have one, and I have it, and that you've gotten really good at letting go. Yes, that's ultimately what we want. Okay.
Right.
All right. Good.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Maria.
Thank you. So my feeling habit is, I feel like I should not disappoint you. And we're talking about energy, feeling the energy of that feeling habit. And I don't know if I probably have not had in touch much with the energy, but with noticing and realizing that I'm in the feeling habit at the moment. And I guess, but in a way, I like to notice that is the feeling habit, because I've been working on not having to explain and justify myself. And I'm practicing, like when I send a text and I say, okay, and I delete some things and I just be clear, concise in what I need to say, and it's perfect. And I'm happy about it. And so I'm doing those things consciously, like not explaining and justify myself. I also been more able to say no when I really want to say no, and not feeling any regret or any guilt or anything, right? At the same time, like for example, last week, because I feel also like I have to, because I feel like I should not disappoint you. That means I have to answer the phone right away. I have to answer text, and that kind of practicing last week, and not answering the phone sometimes, even if I can, just let it ring. And I guess I feel the energy there, I feel the energy of, and I know, I'm the energy of the feeling habit. I should not disappoint you, but I said, no, it's okay. I don't have to answer right away. And so I've been practicing that, and it took something, especially with my family in Colombia or with some friends. But so what I'm going with all of this is that at the same, I like to recognize that it's a feeling habit, but you were saying that don't get caught up in the thinking too much. That is that, I know, you said something that feeling more the energy instead of
The language.
conversation with the small self or something like that.
Yeah. Can I ask you something, or is there something else you want to say?
No, go ahead and ask.
So you said, I feel like I shouldn't disappoint you, or I can't disappoint you. Is that what you say? I feel like I shouldn't disappoint you.
I should not disappoint you. Yeah.
Is it possible that you feel like you're a disappointment?
Yes.
So say that for a moment. Let's just see. I
feel like I am a disappointment. Yeah, it has really the energy there.
So I want you to change yours to that, okay? I feel like I'm a disappointment.
I feel like
that's more aligned with what a feeling habit would be like.
Wow. Yes, and I can feel that too.
Yeah, very good.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, good. Oh, yes, go ahead, Jeremy. And then I'll come to you, Chef.
All right, good evening.
Good evening.
So yeah, this has been a pretty interesting week for me also. This is my first seminar with you guys, and this is my first webinar, so very interesting times. I'll just say that. So my feeling habit is I feel like I'm unworthy.
Yeah.
And in relation to time and everything, the energy we've been talking about, quick example, I was walking yesterday. I live in a beautiful town in Folsom. Right over the Folsom Dam is a bridge, and I got to sit and look in awe of this dam in the clouds and the rain. It was just beautiful. And instead of being in that moment, the first thing that came to my mind was, I don't deserve this. I am unworthy of all this. And it's just interesting because earlier in the day, I had spent, or a few days before, I had spent half a day kind of lounging around the house and relaxing and just getting used to everything. And the same thing came up was, I am unworthy of being able to do this. I should be doing other things, and I'm not worthy of this beautiful place I have and everything around me and these people in my life. And it was just it hit me like in my core here.
Yeah.
And I flushed, and my fingertips were tingly because it was like an instant adrenaline, like anxiety feeling.
Yes.
It was just, it was just very interesting. Every time I notice I'm enjoying something or doing something enjoyable and I'm not worried about time, it'll start to creep back in, and I get a fear of, why am I worried about time? It's because I feel I'm unworthy of being able to enjoy it.
Yeah.
I feel I should be doing something else. So it's very interesting week for me. Very.
So the small self is stuck on the timeline.
Yes.
The small self, which is, by the way, the feeling habit expression. So my feeling habit expresses the small self. The small self is stuck on a timeline. It is either escaping a past, fearful of the future, and this moment is dominated by both. So my experience of real life never happens. We talk about life, we talk about being present, we talk about all those kinds of things. But when the rubber meets the road, we have to be authentic and say, gosh, I don't even know, I have no idea what it would be like to actually be in service authentically of aliveness, because aliveness is gone. You remember when I put it on the board, it's like the board was blank.
Mm-hmm.
The future hasn't happened yet. The past is already gone, and the present doesn't need time.
No.
So I do have a question on your feeling habit, and there's nothing you have to do with it. I just have a question about it.
Okay.
I feel like I'm unworthy. I'd like to know, if you're able, inside your own head, is that what it sounds like? Or does it sound more like, I feel like I don't deserve this. I feel like I just don't deserve anything. I feel like I don't deserve what's best. Or is it really, I feel unworthy?
Let me sit with that for a moment, because.
Okay, yeah, sit with it as much as you want and let me know before we complete.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
Here's how you'll know one will have more of an energetic punch than the other. And that's how you'll know. Or you'll know just because, oh yeah, when I talk to myself, it sounds more like this. You want to talk to yourself. See, when you create your feeling habit in language, you want it to sound like you do.
Okay.
You don't want it to sound correct. You want it to sound like, well, this is what it sounds like when I talk to me. Man.
Yeah.
You know, Dave says, man, I feel like I'm all alone. Right? And
Right.
for Leah, she says, gosh, I feel like I'm such a disappointment. And for me, I feel like I'm left out, or I feel like I'm going to lose everything, like that.
Okay.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Yes, thank you guys.
All right, Shep. You're frozen. Now you're not. You want me to unmute you? I can do it for you.
Can you hear me now?
Woo-hoo. Hot dog.
Hey, Thomas, I just want to say thanks, man. Saturday was amazing. And I also want to thank Vandia and Sue, I think. I got a really big breakthrough. My feeling habit is I feel like I have to get it right. But I realize my small self is it's insecure. It's like it's got to get everything right. And after Saturday, after it was, I left your house, it was over with, my natural instincts just took over. I mean, I forgot about time. I went and visited my sister. It's kind of like what Jean said is, I just got lighter. Everything's flowing now and easy. I'm already a little goofy, so I can laugh and have fun while I'm doing it. And that's a big breakthrough for me now. So I'm excited about, the next thing happening. I'm really have lost conscious of time. I just do what I got to do and have fun, And it's kind of like, like when I was a little kid, I didn't have all that stuff I had to worry about. Things just happened, and time went by. So I want to just say that thank you, and I'm really enjoying this work.
Yeah, right.
And I'm letting go. I gotta get it right. I gotta get it right. I'm letting go, and I'm practicing. So it's getting easier and easier.
Yeah, and you're locating it in the body.
Yeah, it's usually in my chest.
Okay, good.
I mean, it's not pumping it up though. It's not pumping my chest up like bench pressing, but I can feel it. So yeah, so I'm having a ball.
Right on. Thank you, Shep. That's awesome. Yeah, go ahead, Joanne.
So I feel like, when we've talked about it was, I feel like I don't matter, but it's really, I feel like I'm not important to others.
Yes. I feel like I'm not important.
Yes. And where I feel it is in my gut. And it's actually been good to know where it is in my body, because when it happens, let's say I get left out of something, it hurts. My feelings get hurt. And I can live there. But when I feel it in my gut, it's like, oh, that's just my reaction. And I can let go. I don't have to dwell in that space.
Yeah. You don't have to create a story around it. Right?
Well, sometimes there's still a story. No, it gives me so let's say somebody did something that hurt my feelings, and I feel it and I let go, but I can now do what I need to do to either let them know that they hurt my feelings or to get included or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
I don't have to be that life just dishes it out and I don't have any say so, or I don't have any way to create what I want.
Okay. Now, if you were going to take any passive language out and you looked at it again, what might you say? I'm sorry, Joanne, but I can't not call you on it.
it just like sneaks in there.
I know, it does.
I feel like I'm not important.
Yeah. I'll help you. I'll help you. You
Okay.
don't have to go back through it if it's not clear for you. I'll point to it.
Thank you.
This whole world of my feelings got hurt.
Oh, yeah, that is passive, huh?
They hurt my feelings. Now listen, what I'm asking you to take on is a very senior conversation. And it's a senior conversation that's part of a championship game.
Yes.
That's what we're here for. So it's the only reason I'm pointing it out. If it were just a regular conversation with somebody, I would never say anything because it's common language, right? People say those things and we all understand what they mean.
Yes.
So we're committed here. What we're committed to here is something beyond that, right?
Yes.
So if you weren't going to say they hurt my feelings or it hurt my feelings or my feelings got hurt, what might you say that takes the passivity out of it?
I was waiting for you to tell me, and I was going to write it down. I experience hurt feelings.
Well, that would be a step in the right direction. What I want to hear you say, and you may not be ready for it, Joanne, really, you may not, but I'm just going to tell you. I hurt my feelings.
Oh, all right.
See,
that makes me want to have a fight with somebody.
Well, okay.
Because in my world, I didn't hurt my feelings. They did.
No,
but I get what you're saying. Like, it's in another world. In fact, you and I have known each other a long time, and we've had the same experience sometimes. And then I'm shocked that you're not upset, and I am. It's like, don't you realize that? So, like, I get that it's my choice and my world that creates that I hurt my feelings.
Yeah, and I don't want to leave you with, like, your choice. It might be, okay? I really want to give you some power here. It might be your choice. I won't throw that one at you. All I want you to be able to say, see, there's an element over there with you of there's something wrong with you about it versus we're just changing the language so that your reticular activating system gets a handle on something. And that's all. So instead of they hurt my feelings, you can see that that's totally inaccurate. I mean, it's totally inaccurate.
Okay.
They do what they do.
Yes.
I hurt me when they do it. That's all. Doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. We all do that. You know, I was on the phone with my mother last night, and my mother said a few things. And when my mother said those things, I hurt me. Now, given I hurt me, how much more quickly do you think I got to the other side of it?
Versus blame.
Boom. It was this boom.
Oh, that's great.
It was like mom was doing what mom was doing. And it had nothing really, whether it had anything to do with me or not. Like, I don't even want to put those two things together. Mom did what she did, and I hurt me while she did it. Now, I moved through it so quickly, I could say, wow, Mom, what did you mean by that? Really? See, I could have a real conversation versus hurt little Timmy couldn't. Hurt little Timmy would say things he'd regret. And about a week from now, we'd work it all out. And I'd be like, oh, I get it. No, we didn't have to have a week. We had a few minutes. And she could say, well, this is what I was trying to say. Oh, I get that, Mom. I get that. Well, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. Mother, I'm not hurt. I'm not hurt. I just didn't get it. And now I get it. You see, it's just a different world.
Yes. And I believe that my response was from that I hurt my feelings because I didn't go to they did it to me.
Okay, good. So you're like, and for you, it was already more senior than it was.
Right.
And now we're getting up here because you know what? We don't have a whole lot of time.
Okay.
We're all old people. A couple of you out there are young, but hey, most of us, we're old people. Screw this shit. We ain't got time for it. We got to get on, right? Okay. Thanks, Joanne. It was awesome. I see a hand up with Robin
Thomas,
and Andia. Yes?
Thomas, I got my hand up too.
Yeah, I'll come to you too, Sue.
Okay, it's
Oh, wait a
me.
minute. Who is that, Bandia?
Yes.
Oh, good. Go ahead, Bandia. Sorry.
Okay, good. So my feeling habit is I feel like I have to be perfect.
Mm.
And I have a particular routine that I do every day to prove to myself that I'm perfect and I'm okay, that I live alone, that I really don't have anybody to tell me good, bad, or indifferent. And I noticed this week after being with you and everything, I haven't had that drive to be perfect. In fact, one of the ways it showed up with me is that I think I've been worried about my weight and dieting, and whatever I put in my mouth, whatever I eat, I can't enjoy. And I decided, okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to live my life. I'm not going to diet. I'm just going to eat and enjoy life. And I lost 3.5 pounds since Sunday. And I went out with some friends yesterday, and they're dieting, and they're, really adamant about it, and having salads and water, and I'm having pizza and wine. And it's such a contrast of how I've lived my life, you guys. So it was really freeing, number one. And number two, I think that I have seen out of some of the conversations tonight that my feeling habit, I feel like I have to be perfect, is what is there now is that underneath it is I feel like I want to be accepted.
There you go. Now, is it possible?
Yes.
Is it possible that I feel like I'm not acceptable or I'm not accepted?
I'm not accepted.
Is that what it feels like?
I feel like I'm not accepted, yes.
Very good. So would you write that down and make sure that it's on your form?
Yes.
So that
Yeah, I have my form.
So that when we leave this course, you guys, at the third webinar, everybody has a completed sheet that you know how to get to. It could be on your iPad like David's is or someplace, so that this conversation for 2018 can be alive for you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Susie. I got you unmuted. Oh, I thought I did. There you go. Oh. Maybe you're unmuting and I'm muting you back. I'll leave it alone. Go ahead. Unmute yourself, Sue. Powers. There you go.
Oh, so I'm sorry, Thomas. Something came up. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly, yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. I said something earlier because I didn't know if you seen my hand or not. I'm not remembering what I'm trying to find it. My feeling habit is, but I truly believe that it's in the ballpark of I'm abandoned. My feeling habit feels like I'm abandoned.
So you would say, here's how you want to language it. I feel like I'm abandoned.
I feel like I'm abandoned.
Very good, I got that. And I can feel that.
And that's it.
Can you feel the energy of it?
Yes, and I actually felt it in my body. I felt panicked when it came up, when I realized what it was.
Yeah.
I couldn't breathe and I couldn't speak. And it was in my solar plexus. Yeah. And then I cried for an hour.
Oh, how did that feel?
It actually felt good. I released it. I feel more at peace now than I don't remember the last time I felt this peaceful.
Very nice.
It was like I let go of a whole lifetime of resisting this energy, and it was guiding my life, and I was actually living around it, trying to avoid it.
Sure.
And moving around it, so I wouldn't be in those situations where I would feel abandoned.
Yes.
And it's like the universe was putting me in situations anyway to experience it, so I could experience it.
And now you did.
And now I did.
And you cried and you felt it. And
I did. I felt it, and I actually felt my little girl. And it felt like I was not making amends, but healing her.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, and it felt like a completion, a feeling of completion when I acknowledged my little girl and acknowledged the feeling.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thanks, Sue.
You're welcome.
Okay, everybody. So now we want to get in touch with how does time feel? So now you've been in the throes of the feeling habit. I've asked you to be with how does time feel and how do you feel about time. You see, what we're doing here is we're developing a very energetic language. And we want to have this language, if you will, be a feeling language. So it's not always easy to talk about. But generally speaking, when we interact, I can get a sense if you feel it or not. So I want to start off with anybody who noticed a shift in your experience around time, regardless of how you got there or how it showed up. That's not the important part. I just want to hear from you anything you could say about your experience of time. Now, I'll share first just to let you know, the beauty of being able to lead programs like this is that you become more in it than anybody else could possibly be in it. And I had shared with the team on Tuesday that my ordinary way of feeling regarding time would mostly be anxious. Like, it would not be uncommon for me to try to say, and this is what I really want you to hear this, what I'm going to say. It would not be uncommon for me to say in the most politically correct way that I didn't have enough time. Now, I would never say those words, right? As a landmark seminar leader for 17 years, I would never say, I just don't have enough time. I would find some way to fashion the statement so that it could be politically correct, if you get what I mean. But my experience would be that, and I would mostly complain about Fridays. Fridays are hell day, and Fridays are from hell, and it's the busiest day for me, and blah, 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 like those kind of things. And one of the things that showed up for me this time around almost immediately is no anxiety. No anxiousness around time whatsoever. I mean, we all use measurements of time. Like to show up tonight, we measured for 7 p.m. and everybody has the same measurement. And, we did that. And that's one way to use the measurement. But we talk about time not like a measurement. We talk about time like a reality. Just like money, we talk about money like a reality versus it's really a measurement for something, it's moving energy. So anybody, if you have anything you can share that was a shift for you around time, and then I'll move into the conversation a little more deeply. Yeah, Joanne.
This is a little bit of a different point of view, but as many of us know, Stephen Hawking passed away a couple days ago. The man lived 50 years longer than he was told he was going to live.
Yeah.
50 years. And I'm thinking I don't know if everybody knows, but I had a precious little dog that passed away 2 weeks ago. And she was only 8 years old. And I felt, my experience was gypped. I wanted more time. And I thought I always had another day, another tomorrow. And I had a breakthrough with her. She taught me many lessons, that precious little soul. but one of them was, I don't always have tomorrow. But Stephen Hawkins taught me, like, I may have more time than I thought. So maybe I might not do a project because I might think I might not live long enough, but hell's bells, I might. You know what I mean? So I have both sides of the spectrum in a couple of weeks.
It's kind of like this, the saying that people would say, if I knew I would have taken better care of myself if I'd known I was going to live this long.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like that. Yeah, right on.
Yeah.
Well, I'm present too. I lived in a house for 28 years, and I always wanted a tree in the front yard. But we were a company transfer, and we were only supposed to be there for 3. Well, the company left, my ex-husband left. I was in the house for 28 years. That tree would have been huge by the time I left.
Oh, yeah.
And I never grew that tree.
Yeah. Yeah, very good. Thanks, Joanne. Let's see, I have Deb and Sue, and then I'll come to you, Shep.
So this is Deb, and I had a couple of experiences around time this week. I don't know if I actually was able to, describe it as a feeling, but one of the things I was present to that it's too precious to waste. And consequently, I had the experience this week of having more energy and not feeling like, you know how before this week, I would be in a position of, oh, it's 9 or it's 9:30, it's time to go to bed. That is not how it occurred for me this week. I could stay up to 10, 10:30, 11. That was not in my space. In fact, I usually read to Sue before she goes to sleep. I could have stayed up, keep reading, not only because my voice would give out, that was the reason to stop, but it was getting on to 11 o'clock and I was still had energy. I didn't have the experience of feeling tired like I had been previous to this week.
Yes.
I'm not really sure what's at work.
Don't worry about that part.
But I'm having fun, like experiencing this energy that heretofore did not seem to exist.
Right. Before it wasn't an energy. Before it was something else. And it was too precious to waste. So if I feel like time is too precious to waste, how must I feel about time?
That it's really important. It's
Well, can I give you something that I think?
Yeah.
I feel like I have to hang on to time. It's like I have to save it. I have to somehow, if it's too precious to waste, I have to have a place to keep it. Of course, it's crazy. But feelings are feelings. Crazy or not, that's how you feel.
Right.
But very good. Thank you. That's a good first cut and a good outcome. And now we're going to continue just to get like, what does it feel like to me? How do I feel about time? Shep. Thanks, Deb.
Sure.
Yes, Saturday, of course, I was out of town and I was expecting an important document from UPS and it came, but they needed a signature. I had to sign for it. So when I got home Sunday morning, I seen a note on the door and I was like, oh, wow. But then Monday came and I had to run an errand and the guy came while I was gone and I was like, wow, I really need this document. So I was like, trying to figure out, I went online trying to figure out the delivery schedule, really conscious of the different times I had to be here. And of course, they give you like from between 3 to 7 p.m. So I was like, oh, okay, and then, so actually on Tuesday, about 6:45, it was delivered. And all of a sudden I had a big release, but I was really kind of wrapped up on the time thing, you know, whereas before, after having a beautiful weekend, I wasn't conscious of the time. So it seems like it occurs to me whatever, if something's important or a deadline, then I don't know, I might go back to the small self. You know, that's just the way it occurred to me.
Sure. So you could, when there's a deadline, you could just ask yourself the question, what does time feel like? So when there's a deadline, Shep, what does time feel like?
It's anxiety.
All right, very good. So when it comes to time, time makes me or I get anxious.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Now this week, you'll continue to dig in because that ain't quite it yet, but it's a start of something.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Like there's a relationship to time that leaves you anxious. Time isn't, it's not, I feel anxious because of time. No, there's a relationship to time. I feel, time feels like XYZ, and then I make myself anxious, like that.
Okay.
Let's see, there's Cliff, and then I want to, before you jump in there, Cliff, I want to give Eric an opportunity to think. You don't have to say anything yet, Eric, but just kind of think about, how does time feel? Because you haven't really been in this conversation in a while. Just kind of look for a moment, and then I'll give you an opportunity to kind of spit some things out if you're able. Go ahead, Cliff.
Yeah, I've been working on this conversation with time for the last couple of months through some other sources making me present to it. And what I found, and this week particularly, because it kind of brought it in, what you say, more condensed. When I'm doing a job and I enjoy doing it, and I'm looking at the results and I enjoy the process, I'm not aware of time. And then I get a phone call and somebody says, well, I need you to come and look at this. And in the past, I would feel obligated, okay, well, I got to get over there and I need to set it in. And I would rearrange my schedule to meet theirs. And I found that I was making time a taskmaster. It was this kind of Simon Legree with the whip. All right, you've got to get over and get this done. And you've got to go do this. And there was no freedom because time was dictating. I felt like time was dictating how I was to spend my time, how I was to spend my actions, what choices I were to make. So this week, I decided to, I don't know what would be the correct words to use, but I decided to set my schedule, and others will have to arrange their schedules based upon my schedule. So if I can't get there and I did this week, and I usually would never do it. I said, I can't get there this week. I can be there Monday. And they said, fine. And so I'm looking at time now as more of a, I guess, a tool. It's just there, and I have to live with it, but I can use it sometimes, and sometimes I have to conform to what others' expectations. But it's not an all or nothing, you know. So that's where I am right now. It's just interesting to see where the conversation is going.
Right, I know, yeah. What does it feel like to you, though, time?
You know, when I'm in the flow and I'm really into what I'm doing and I'm enjoying it, time feels like a river that I'm rafting down, and I love it. And I'm just so into it. And I'm not aware of what's going on, and it's just, it's everything. But when it becomes the taskmaster, I feel very small. I feel like I don't have control. I feel like I'm just not in, I feel like I have no control. What's the expression of that? That's a good question. I don't know.
Well, you just let that be. Let it sit around. But it's on a good track. You'll have it by the third webinar. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
Eric, you want to share a few things?
Sure.
Let me mute these. Are you? Oh, I don't know. I had it muted. Can you, all right, so say something, Eric.
So,
Can you guys hear him?
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I feel like I'm either being dominated by time or I'm not. Similar, when I'm engaged with something at work and I'm enjoying what I'm doing, I look up and then all of a sudden a couple hours have gone by and it's like, oh, great. You know, it's like closer to quitting time. And I wasn't even present. But then in the morning I catch Amtrak and it leaves at 7:02 a.m. and I could still be at the house at like 6:52, 6:55. I'm just driving down a few blocks to catch it and then park. But it's like in that 10 minutes, I can get so much done to wrap things up. Me catching the train, it's amazing what I could do in 10 minutes. And it's like up against like when we host like a dinner party, you know, or I'm coming up to a deadline. I feel like I could get a lot done in a very short period of time. However, if I'm given all the time in the world, I don't really take advantage of that. Like I don't have that pressure to have me in action. Like I feel like the time is actually what's the dominating of time is what has me be in more action.
So now, not a trick question, but what does time feel like?
It feels like something to survive.
Oh, very good. Now that has energy to it. Can you feel that?
Like I'm always conscious of it. It's like, oh, you know, here we go again. It's like I'm running late again. It's like, what's new? That kind of thing. Or it's
But if you can own that one statement just for tonight, time feels like something to survive.
Yes.
That'll give you power.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I want you to write that down because that is your feeling habit in regards to time at this moment.
Yeah.
Your feeling habit in regards to time, you will notice, connects to your actual feeling habit.
Yeah.
Connected, you don't have to worry about that. We're going to deal with these as two worlds. And then in the last webinar, they'll come together and they'll join naturally.
Yeah.
Good work. Good work. Thank you. Now, anybody else, not a shift, doesn't have to be a shift, but right this moment as an inquiry, how does time feel? Yeah, go ahead, Robert.
Am I muted? No. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Looking at this, time doesn't feel like anything. It's all me. It's all me bringing a feeling habit to time. And so that's what I found.
Okay. Somebody else. How does time feel? Yeah, go ahead, Sue, and then I'll go to Maria.
It feels like something I have to stay up in front of.
Yeah. So if I have to stay in front of time, then time must be moving.
Yeah.
Does it feel like time's getting away from you?
Yes, that's exactly it. Time's getting away from me.
So let's write that down. Time feels like, no, I feel like time is getting away from me. I feel like time is getting away from me. Very good. Perfect. Thank you. Maria. There you go, Maria. Oops.
Okay. Time feels like work. Like it feels like I should not, how do you say? Like I have things to do and I should not allow myself to have fun or free time doing fun things.
So that's almost like what Deb said, time is precious, time shouldn't be wasted, so therefore it's something that can be wasted. Yeah, very good, Maria, thank you. Okay, Joanne, you'll be the last one.
Time is slippery.
Oh, time is slippery. Very good. Got that. It feels like it's slippery. All right. Very, very good. So everybody, you are going to play in the world of time this week. And I want you to do it a number of different ways. And just like this past week, does it help when I send you all the text or a phone call? Do you like that? Okay. Just like last week, I'll do that this week because I'm going to have you being with time from a few different angles. You'll start off, what does it feel like? You'll go into, how do I feel about it? And then you're going to look at other points of view. Like one of the things the team and I did was we went online and we pulled up different YouTube videos and things like that. Like there's this one YouTube video that I was going to use in the course that I chose not to, called The Truth About Time. And the reason I chose not to is because we're not looking for the truth about time. We're looking for the feeling about time. The truth about time is not going to give us anything except some good facts. But I did find it inspiring and it opened up some things for me. So if you chose to look at that, you might. But I want you to go many different ways. Talk to your friends. Have you ever considered what time feels like? And let them just talk to you about it. Not to get anything correct. Is everybody engaged? You understand what I'm asking you to do? Very good. So time is going to be the conversation of the week. Now, the last thing we're putting in for tonight, I want each person on this webinar, in this course, to identify 5 people that you're going to use as a barometer. What do I mean? You see, I'm not asking you to take 5 relationships and fix them, even though they might get fixed. I'm asking you to use the 5 relationships so that you can gauge your shift in reality. Do you follow? See, you might feel some kind of way, better, more free, blah, blah, blah. But if it's not impacting your world, then it makes no real difference. So you kind of want to get a feel for it. So I've chosen 5 people. Of course, Raphael's going to be one because he's a constant in my world. So I can always measure something against that. Then I have a person that I train and work with ongoingly. Her name is Laura. I have another lady that I train and work with ongoingly. Her name is Jennifer. I have a manager who has used me in many different ways. His name is Marco. And my last one is Lori. And Lori happens to be a client of mine. So it's very possible, Lori, that you might actually listen to this webinar at some point if I ask you to take on time. These are not negative, like choosing the 5 people doesn't mean there's something wrong there. It just means the kind of relationship you have with them, you know that you can measure yourself. Like maybe they drive something up. You know, there are some people when they get around you, it drives up your feeling habit. And you'll notice that. So they're a good one to measure with. You follow? You'll say, gosh, you know what? It was so much easier to be with so-and-so. My feeling habit didn't take over. Everybody with me? Any questions about that? Anybody have 5 people you could just share who they are so that we hear you? Go ahead, Sue.
So I'm going to take on my assistant, Shane, my supervisor, Frank. I'm putting down Deb. I can't think of anything she drives up, but I'm around her. So, you know, my mom and a woman in my office, her name's Wendy.
Beautiful. Perfect. Anybody else want to share your 5? It's always good if you speak them out loud. It becomes more real.
Yes, I do, Thomas. It's Vondia.
Go ahead.
Okay, my 5 are my daughter Renee, my sister Linda, my brother Val, and my ex Andy, and my friend Ann.
Very good. Perfect. Perfect. One more person, anybody?
I can.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's Susie.
Yeah.
I chose Joe, my son Daniel, my son Adam, my daughter-in-law Lindsay, and a woman I just met recently, Anne. Her name's Anne.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. We are about to complete. And here is your assignment. See, you thought the time thing was your assignment. You thought the 5 people were your assignment. That's what you're going to live inside of. Here's your assignment. Choose a drawer, a cabinet, or a closet and clean it out. Choose a drawer, a cabinet, or a closet. How are you going to know which one to choose? Choose the funkiest one. Now, some of you, Vondia, may not have a funky drawer or a funky closet or a funky cabinet. If you're that kind of person, I want you to take a drawer and I want you to make it as funky as you can make it and leave it that way all week. Okay? That is your assignment. Any questions? Robin and Bondi are having a good laugh over that one, yes. All right, I'm going to unmute yes, go ahead, Shep.
Hey, could you give me an example on your 5 people when you say using as a barometer?
Wait a minute. Okay. Yeah, so you're using the 5 people, let's say, like, for instance, yesterday, you know, when I was with my mother, and I said, you know, she drove something up. Our relationship drove something up over here with me, like an energy. And I could share with you how quickly I moved through it because I was measuring with my mother. That's, can anybody help me here? Like share with Shep? No, really, because I'm kind of lost for how to give it to you, Shep, and I know somebody can.
Okay, I will.
Go ahead, Vondia, and then Sue if we need you.
So for me, there's people that I mentioned that I have bodily energy comes up even when I talk to them. So I'm not doing anything to fix it, but I'm just going to see when I talk with them or hear from them or whatever, what if there's a shift or not in my energy.
Right, exactly right. Does that land, Shep? Go ahead, Sue, from your point of view.
Yeah, Vondia said it perfectly. I was going to say, for me, there's places where I know my heart is not always open.
Very good. Perfect.
Having an open heart.
Perfecto. Perfecto. All right, everybody. Did you get value tonight? Yes. Great, great work, you guys. I'll see you next Thursday. Same time, same dial in. You'll hear from me this week more than you want to. I love you, honor you, respect you, and I look forward to seeing you then. Good night.
Good night, Thomas.
Thank you.
The recording will be on your participant website. I'll send you the link if you need it or want it.
Okay.
But
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.